Hello, welcome to English for Everyone, where we practice real-life American English. Today we're learning a great phrasal verb, and we're going to practice with correct pronunciation. So let's get started. Today we're learning this phrasal verb, blurt out. And what does it mean? It means to say something suddenly without thinking of the results or the consequences. If you say it suddenly without thinking, use the phrasal verb, blurt out. It can be used to talk about negative things, things that you're not supposed to say, like revealing a secret. Let's hear an example.
Or skip all that and just blurt out that Emily's pregnant and having your baby.
She said, or skip that and just blurt out that Emily's pregnant and having your baby. That's the big secret. It's a secret that Emily's pregnant. So if you reveal the secret, you can use the phrasal verb blurt out. Just blurt out that Emily's pregnant and having your baby. It's something you're not supposed to say because it's a secret. Let's look at pronunciation. When you say blurt out, the T in blurt is a fast D. Blurt out, blurt out. The T in out is a stop T because the next sound is a consonant. Blurt out that. The TH in that is a consonant, so the T in out is pronounced as a stop T. Blurt out that. Link the sounds. Blurt out that Emily's pregnant. Blurt out that Emily's pregnant. So again, or skip all that and just blurt out that Emily's pregnant and having your baby. Let's hear the clip again.
Or skip all that and just blurt out that Emily's pregnant and having your baby.
Let's hear another example of blurt out.
I tell you what, you could say the actual words or blurt out whatever you're thinking.
The example here, blurt out whatever you're thinking. She says blurt out whatever you're thinking. She uses the phrasal verb blurt out because the idea is just say whatever you're thinking. Don't worry about the results or the consequences. Just say it. Just blurt out whatever you're thinking. We see the T in blurt is pronounced as a fast D because it's after an R and before a vowel. Blurt out. The T in out is a stop T because it's before a consonant. Blurt out whatever you're thinking. Link the sounds. Blurt out whatever you're thinking. Let's hear the clip again.
I tell you what, you could say the actual words or blurt out whatever you're thinking.
Now let's hear some other examples of the phrasal verb blurt out in the present tense.
The Von Huffmans asked us to their anniversary reception this weekend at the club, and when they said, bring your fiancé, it was all I could do not to blurt out she married someone else.
This just isn't the kind of thing you blurt out to your mom.
I tell you what, you could say the actual words or blurt out whatever you're thinking.
Or skip all that and just blurt out that Emily's pregnant and having your baby.
Now let's change the verb to the past. Blurt in the present and blurted in the past. Blurted out. The T in blurted is a fast D because it's after an R and before a vowel. Blurted, blurted, blurted out, blurted out. Link the sounds. Blurted out, blurted out. Let's hear an example of blurted out in the past.
My daughter shouted, blurted out the answer. How do you know she...
He said, my daughter shouted and blurted out the answer. She said the answer. They were playing a game and she wasn't supposed to say the answer. She was supposed to keep it a secret, but she said it, so I can use the phrasal verb blurted out. My daughter shouted and blurted out the answer. Let's practice. Did she shout and blurt out the answer? That's right, she shouted and blurted out the answer. Let's hear the clip again.
My daughter shouted, blurted out the answer. How do you know she...
Now let's hear some other examples of blurted out in the past.
But I chickened out, and I blurted out the first name that came to mind.
I just blurted out, like...
Just stared straight ahead in space and blurted out why I'd come.
My daughter shouted, blurted out the answer. How do you know she...
Also, the phrasal verb blurt out is a separable phrasal verb. So if I use a pronoun it, I have to put it in the middle. So with it, we say blurt it out. But when we link the words, the T in blurt is a fast D because it's after an R and before a vowel. What about the T in it? It's also a fast D because it's between vowels. Blurt it out, it out, it out. Blurt it out. That is a separable phrasal verb with the pronoun it in the middle. Blurt it out. Let's hear an example.
Don't just blurt it out about Edna dying.
She said, don't just blurt it out about Edna dying. Don't just blurt it out about Edna dying. So they're supposed to tell the people in the house that Edna died. But she doesn't want him to say it suddenly. She doesn't want him to say it as soon as they walk in the house. So she warns him. She tells him, don't just blurt it out about Edna dying. Let's look at the pronunciation. Blurt it out. We see the T in blurt is a fast D, and the T in it is a fast D. Blurt it out. About. About Edna. We see the T in about is between vowels, so that T changes to a fast D too. Blurt it out about Edna. Blurt it out about Edna. So the T in blurt is a fast D, the T in it is a fast D, and the T in about is a fast D. Blurt it out about Edna dying. Don't just blurt it out about Edna dying. Let's hear the clip again.
Don't just blurt it out about Edna dying.
Now let's hear some other examples of blurted out. The phrasal verb blurted out with the pronoun it in the middle.
Horrified, I heard myself blurt it out.
I'm sorry to blurt it out like that. I couldn't think of a...
Just blurt it out! But we can get through this, as long as we stay out of trouble.
Just blurt it out.
Molly, you're in danger.
Now, you can't just blurt it out like that.
So, whatever you want to say, just blurt it out.
Don't just blurt it out about Edna dying.
Now what if we change blurted out to the past? Then you have blurted it out. Link the sounds. Blurted it out. Blurted it out. The T in blurted is a fast D. The D at the end of blurted is a fast D. The T in it is a fast D. So altogether, blurted it out. Blurted it out. Let's hear an example of blurted it out.
I was going to tell. It's just that Big Mouth here blurted it out.
She said, I was going to tell, but Big Mouth here blurted it out. So she was going to tell. She was going to say something, but the guy who she calls Big Mouth, that's like a nickname you can call someone who talks a lot, Big Mouth. She said, but Big Mouth here blurted it out. Blurted it out. So the T in blurt is a fast D. The D in blurted is a fast D. What about the T in out? Well, it's the end of the sentence, so it's a stop T. Blurted it out. Put the tongue up and stop the air. I was going to tell, it's just that Big Mouth here blurted it out. Let's hear the example again.
I was going to tell. It's just that Big Mouth here blurted it out.
Now let's hear more examples of the past blurted it out with the pronoun it in the middle.
You blurted it out just like that.
Tim just blurted it out.
You just blurted it out.
I was going to tell. It's just that Big Mouth here blurted it out.
Now my example. He walks into the house. It's not his house. He's visiting somebody. And he smells something. And he says, what stinks in here? He blurted out, what stinks in here? You can't just blurt out things like that. It's rude. So my example, you can't just blurt out things like that. Let's practice. Can you just blurt out things like that? That's right. You can't just blurt out things like that. So what did he blurt out? He blurted out, what stinks in here? Let's practice. What did he blurt out? That's right. He blurted out, what stinks in here? Example, he shouldn't just blurt it out like that. It's not polite. He shouldn't just blurt it out like that. Let's practice. Should he just blurt it out like that? That's right. He shouldn't just blurt it out like that. It's not polite. And I can say in the past with the pronoun, he blurted it out. Linking the sounds, he just blurted it out. Let's practice. Did he just blurt it out? That's right. He just blurted it out. So remember the pronunciation. Blurt out in the present. In the past, blurted out. In the present with the pronoun, blurted out. And I know what you're thinking. Don't they sound the same? And you're right, they do. But you're going to know the difference from the context of the example. That's right. The past, blurted out, and the present with the pronoun, blurted out, sound the same. And remember the pronunciation for the past with the pronoun, blurted it out. He just blurted it out. Thank you for watching, and if you like this video, subscribe to our channel. And if you want to become a member, click the join button. And we'll see you next time.